Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, what makes speakers clubs stand out from the crowd? Evaluations. And why are clubs superior to 2 or 3 day courses? The opportunity for more and more and more evaluations. There are 3 strands to speech evaluation. First, you get the advice for the speaker. Second, sometimes forgotten, development of the evaluator. And third, almost always forgotten, development of the audience. So what do speakers need? Well, they want a report on the composition, the style, delivery, etc. from a critical friend. They want confirmation of the things they did well, identification of factors that could do with some improvement, some ideas and suggestions to help them improve, and a clear indication of whether they should repeat that assignment or move on to the next one. So, a speaker's weaknesses should be identified so they can be eliminated. But good aspects must also be well stressed. Effective and positive evaluation will actually raise the performance of any speaker. And we are not trying to make clones. You know, a speaker's natural style needs just to be developed. But here at Souci, we aim for helpful, non-threatening environments whereby we can help the speakers to improve by encouraging them to do more, to keep coming back, to keep having more tries at their speeches, and to get more evaluations. Our critical friend has to remember criticism is not ever to be destructive. It must always be constructive. Next then, how does the evaluator benefit? That's the second one I said would benefit. Well, now, I'm not going to count the skills of this because there are about 7 different ones that the person who comes up here to evaluate can actually develop in themselves. Greater knowledge of the assignments, listening skills, analytical skills, note-taking ability, construction and presentation of a timed speech, improved memory, and appropriate language to encourage and guide. All those are extremely important and, of course, generally very helpful outside of speakers' clubs as well. Well, people ask, how should I do it? How should I sit there in the audience and actually be an evaluator? Well, what works for me to start with is remembering that I am not the final word as an evaluator. The general evaluator who's sitting at the back has the final word and, of course, can therefore override an evaluation if they feel it wasn't the correct one, didn't give the correct result. Obviously, if you're evaluating, you've got to know the assignments. You don't know them all before you start. But if you concentrate on the one that you're asked to evaluate, and then you just look back through the earlier ones, it will help you to gain knowledge of the assignments, which obviously is then helpful for you as a speaker. So, really, it's a good idea to get some evaluations in quite early on in your career in speakers clubs. I think think some places wait until the speaker's done up to number 6, 7 or even 8 before they feel they can be an evaluator. No, I don't agree with that. Get into evaluating as soon as you can. You are not the last word for the speaker. It doesn't matter if you feel yourself you didn't do a good evaluation or if you're told you didn't do a good evaluation. But you've got to try it, otherwise you're not going to develop the skills. You've also, as an evaluator, got to have some examples in the back of your mind of what you might be able to tell the speaker to do. You know, if it's a use of the voice, you may find someone who's very quiet, and the least thing you've got to say is, lift your chin up, speak to the back of the room. And that's just a little piece of good advice for a lot of people whose voices don't carry, who perhaps drop their heads to read their notes and are speaking down there. Simple bits of advice that will help. Gestures, you know, you've got to have some idea about what to say. Because we all do this sort of thing with our hands, don't we? We don't know what to do. We do this with our glasses. And we've got to be able, as evaluators, to give people an idea what to do with your hands. Maybe hold them on the lectern. Maybe stand with one like this. Maybe have one arm across your side. Whatever you do, know what you're doing. Have that in your mind to tell the speaker, whichever is appropriate. For making notes, I use a simple idea of listing B1 down to whatever number they're up to, whatever speech I'm evaluating. And I find that the evaluation sheets, the current ones in our speaker's guide, are very helpful in that because they give you a guide about what the assignments contain and the salient and important bits from each assignment. And I put a comment about the speech against each one, really. It might be a little quote from the speech, or it might be just a comment, no, don't do that, or something like that, which helps me to be able to tell them in my evaluation the way I think they should go. Sometimes I write down more than I actually deliver in the evaluation. It doesn't matter, you don't have to say everything that you've written. Some people are better off remembering what they've heard, just the odd note here and there, keep watching. It's not good if it's a gesture speech and you've missed the good gestures because you were writing your notes, is it? Others choose to do notes in a different way. They have mind maps, or I remember doing one once which was like a clock face and putting ideas out from each strand of the clock face to tell me what I needed to remember. You have to work that out yourself. But you then have to do a speech to the whole of the audience, not just the speaker. Don't speak to one person. Don't say, Janet, you did this. Janet, you'd be better if you did the other. Speak to everyone. You can say, Janet should have. Or you may even say, the speaker ought to have. But we don't want harsh or cutting comments. We don't want to deflate anyone. And then write up an evaluation sheet as soon as you can. How does the audience gain then? How do you benefit? Well, again, it should reinforce your knowledge of assignments. And club members should sit and try to evaluate in their heads, listen to a speech with that evaluation hat on, and think, was that good, was it bad? And listen to the evaluator then. Did I agree with that? Oh, no, I wouldn't have said that. And then the general evaluator, who should tell the evaluator themselves how to improve. So to summarise the overall benefits, speakers are encouraged to improve if they get good evaluations. Evaluators benefit because all those skills are sharpened up: listening, analytical, memory, speech delivery. Audiences can compare their thoughts on a speech with those of the evaluator, the general evaluator. To me, evaluation is the most challenging thing in speakers' clubs. It's also the most satisfying and the most beneficial. But what we do need is to take the time to learn the art of evaluation.